Hey, so I wanted to present something in this video. So I did it in French, but I thought that there were not a lot of information also in English, so I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to do a little something to show you how I started my first try using a dice. So for those that are not familiar with it, so this is the result. I wanted to show you first. I used fine silver because I thought that fine silver would be more malleable and easier to work with. So I'm absolutely not a pro, like I was saying, it was my first try, but I kind of got how it worked, the idea, and I wanted to share with you how I worked it out, because those are really simple ways and cheaper ways also to make your own unique jewelry and to add a little touch to it, especially knowing that I love Native American jewels, and they use a lot of that, and they don't use only dices, but they also use what we call shot plates. So I don't know if you're familiar with the term. I will also put in the description box the Etsy shop where I got it from, and so I just wanted to show you a full A to Z explanation on how I managed to do the dice, the printed impressed dice. I don't even know how you call it. So I'm gonna use fine silver because I always keep the things, the leftovers, so to speak. And I'm gonna use fine silver because it's more malleable, and it will be, I thought it would be easier to work with that. So I also wanted to show for the people that might not know how to form silver spheres, how you work that out. So I have a Norca. This type of blowtorch is easily available in France. I don't know if it's available in other parts of the world. I think it is because it's made in Brazil. It's Brazilian. And the great thing about this one is that you just need to plug it in with gas. You don't have to worry about oxygen input because it's there's a little screw that you can unscrew to let the air come in, and that's how you can manage the temperature, whether you want it higher and stronger and the flame to be stronger or not. So with fine silver it will be really easy and really fast to melt it and to turn it into some sort of bowl. I didn't know exactly the amount of silver to pick to fit in perfectly with the dice, so I just randomly kind of picked what seemed to be a good proportion of silver. So here we go. Goes faster than with sterling. You could totally use sterling silver, but I was just first try, like I'm saying, so I didn't want to go too crazy, you know, on the hammer. Now I'm gonna have to wait a little bit for this to cool down and to quench it in cold water. And what I like, what I was saying about the dices and the shot plates, it's that it's a very nice way to be able to work and to decorate your pieces of jewelry. So for this I'm going to use my hammer. It's a pretty heavy hammer. It's brass, and I always pick one side that, like you can see, that is very worn and used, and I try to keep the other side really plain and smooth for the different types of work if I don't want to mar the metal. I advise you to do this on pretty much everything, because keeping one side smooth will help to have a cleaner result and to work on projects without having to polish as much as if every size of your hammers and your steel blocks are totally destroyed over time. I also want to mention that what I use to melt and my metal is not the best type of soldering blocks like this, but I did with what I had. The best ones are charcoal blocks. So now that we have this and I've quenched it in cold water, now is the time for the heavy duty work. And so to do this, I'm going to use my bench block, my steel block. I'm going to use the side that is more worn and used out. You could try to fix the dice into some thermolock or some cement, you know, but I didn't really bother with this. And I know that I have this sort of small, it's for clockwork. I will put in the description box also where I got all those small tools. And so I'm just going to use it like this. Be careful with your fingers, obviously. And we're going to go on with the hammer, and we're going to just hammer, hammer, hammer. Whack this thing, And obviously you don't have the noise, but don't do this at night if you have neighbors, because it's very, very loud. So if you don't live in a house in the middle of the woods, you know, please have some sympathy for your neighbors in your neighborhood. So I just smashed it as much as I possibly could, and truth to be told, I could have smashed it a bit more, but I thought that if it was too smashed, it would be really hard. Like, I'm showing you the first try I did, not on camera, to my first try, and that's why I wanted to use this tool this time, because I didn't get all the details, and I love this because it can be used for so many things, and it was perfect for this. So I didn't use it. I could have used it more, and I could have whacked and tried to make this more plain, but I thought, you know, my main concern was how the hell am I going to get this out? So what I'm going to use is just a screw, a plain, simple screw. I have a couple of those that I use to set and mostly unset projects. And I just thought that those screws were perfect to be able to pop out the metal after having hammered it pretty well. So I'm just going to do this and use the smallest one. I will also put in the description box a link to a screw set that are really cheap and effective, and you just go around and you just have to put a bit of, be careful with your fingers obviously, but you just have to try to find the right size, and then when it's done you will see that the thing will just poof, come out by itself really easy. So I could have done a bit more hammering to try and have more details, but this is the basics of how to work this. So here it is. You see, I don't have the little flower end and at the bottom because I didn't hammer enough. I think you could anneal it as much as you need to be able to have the final result that you wish to have. And then you cut the excess of silver around, and you need to put a bit more metal than necessary to be able to get it out. So this is this little video is just a little something for those, an introduction for those that don't really know how to handle this. I don't know if we could put some kind of oil inside the bronze dice to make it easier for the piece to come out. This was just ideas. If you have tips, go ahead please. And like I was mentioning, you will be able to find all the tools I'm mentioning in the description box. And I hope that this was out of service, and I'll see you around for another video. Bye bye.